Good evening, everyone. It is May 16th, 2023. Just redoing this video after I thought it was a little bit rushed in that first attempt at it. Now, what we're looking at is a 2-hour chart of the full external trading hours, and you can see we've been making lower highs for a while now on the ES. And this is all happening while the NQ, let's pull up a better chart for you guys, the NQ has been making new highs of year and notably is now trading above the 2022 half back at 13,498. And my primary thesis has been that as long as we're trading below the 500s, we're probably in distribution mode. Yearly value area high is just slightly above our high of the day today. Our high of the day today was just correlating with a very old weekly point of control. However, we are starting to get into a quite bullish territory, if you want to call it that. Now, on the ES, what I was looking for today was a short cover at the open to round yesterday's value area high. I think it was trading at 48 or so, and that's what we had. I was looking for that to be an exhaustive move and then come back to make new lows on the week. And although that did happen, it only happened after spending several hours churning around that weekly pivot. And only once the Nasdaq sold off, found supply, built supply, and sold off, did the ES actually fall down. And it did eventually make new lows of the week, but uh, yesterday's low was 41.23, and this thing came in only at 41.20. Uh, so not really kind of the sell I was hoping for. I thought we could at least be getting into the teens, 16-ish kind of number. Uh, so the ES printing its lower high of day for the third session in the row, while the NQ continues to move upwards. Uh, the Nasdaq open drived upwards and then held the 95% weekly value area high from last week, then held yesterday's point of control, and then just ramped up into new highs of the year, closing with a distributive point of control at the highs. Notably, ES, the monthly deltas are getting quite negative. I think on TradingView it's around negative 500,000 right now, and some heavy deltas into the close. Notably as well, the internals have been quite poor for quite a number of days. Let me see if I can pull this up for you guys. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Uh, this is showing a weekly, kind of a McClellan-y kind of thing, and you can see it's starting to flip negative. The daily has just been printing negative, 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 negative for whatever it's been since the end of April, really. The last time we had this was February. We did the same thing, churned sideways, got these negative prints, and eventually that led to the flush into that March low, which corresponded with roughly the yearly open. Now, if we visit that same number again, we'll be visiting it with a lot more overhanging supply than when we did in February. And I think we would instead be looking to visit something like these 360 numbers, kind of that June 2022 low down to the current low of whatever, this entire bear market. So those are just some things to note. Let's move on. Let's see what we're actually looking to trade. I want to be long 41.23 tomorrow. That lining up with settlement lows as well as where we closed the day. The idea being that if we don't trade much below the close during this overnight session like we have so far, just no trade below that close at 41.23, to me it'll just be indicative of shorts being offside. So if we come back there, I think we'll get some bids to cover at that 41.23. Below there, nothing has changed from the prior days. Above, interest in getting short at value area high from the session at 41.41. Also kind of corresponding with that 38-ish area, the weekly half back from last week, and kind of where we had the majority of our resistance. There you go, can really see it. The majority of the resistance during today's session. Above there, nothing has changed either. Moving on to the NQ, very different story. Not too interested in getting short for simply the reason that this thing will not stop making new highs. I would like to be long at today's high if we do get a gap up scenario. Similarly, I would like to be long at the point of control if we get a gap up scenario. I think we'll just have any sort of distributions or late longs will be looking to buy on the dip. At 510 quarter, I'll be looking to buy as well. That lining up with today's VWAP close, and below there getting long as well at settlement highs at 480. Also kind of around last week's high, kind of around today's close, near value area low, near a settlement close, blah, 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 blah. Below there, nothing really changes for me. Still looking to get long 397, last week's value area high, Monday's value area low. What is that? The weekly halfback, the weekly close for all from last week, and then below there, nothing has changed. It's the same as what it was before. Above, not looking to get short again. I think, sure, we might put in a high of the day around 575, maybe, or maybe we rip up to 616. I'm not really too sure. These numbers are kind of correlating with these major swing highs. So that 575 number, you can see both in April of last year and then in this August was important. This 575 to 585 area. So I'm going to be watching that tomorrow for a possible high of the day before we move down. So my overall view in the market is that the ES is being held down, or perhaps I should say is being more representative of the internals on the market, whereas the Nasdaq is just really, really, really pumping on those heavyweights that we're used to seeing, those big FANG stocks or whatever you want to call them. So that's how I'm looking at this heading into tomorrow. I'm sure there'll be changes to this before the open, and I'll be posting those to Twitter pre-market per usual. Hope that makes sense. Hope that helps, and have a great night.